Hey guys, how is everyone doing? I am so excited to welcome all of you guys to Design Lab 2021. I hope you are just as excited to get started with this program as we are to have you in the program. Before we get started officially though, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Kristen Lubbers. I am the Executive Director of the Architectural Foundation of Cincinnati, and I have been running the Design Lab program for about 5 years now. Um, this is certainly going to be one of the weirder years that we've had. Of course, you guys are no strangers to living in strange times, so I'm sure that you will do just great with it and overcome any obstacles that it throws your way. And maybe you'll even thrive a little bit as a result. That's what we hope for all of you. Just a little background about me. I got my undergraduate degree from Northern Kentucky University in graphic design, and then I went on to get my master's from Miami University in biology, and I focused on sustainable building practices. So what you guys are learning this semester in Design Lab is something that is very dear to my heart. Another thing I should tell you is that my dog Grayson may end up photobombing some of these videos. You've probably seen his tail already. He does have a tendency to photobomb me, so fair warning about that. Apologies in advance, but hopefully you guys like dogs because he's pretty cute. So I am very, very passionate about sustainable building. You guys are going to see that. I also love animals. I worked at the zoo and the aquarium for a long time. I got to train animals at both of those places. It's just something that I'm super passionate about, and I'm really excited to share that passion with you guys. That's the main reason I like to build sustainably, is to protect all of our animal friends that are living in wild places. We want to keep them as wild as possible. So, what is Design Lab? What have you guys gotten yourselves into? That's the big question, right? So in this program, you guys are going to learn a lot about the built environment. So that's all of the buildings that surround us and the buildings we live in and work in and play in. I know this year we've been spending more time in buildings than ever before, and we can't wait to get out of them. But the built environment can mean more than just buildings, right? It can mean fountains that are in the middle of our city, or maybe an entryway, a big gate that you might drive through or walk through that gives you a grand entrance into something. Or maybe we've taken down a lot of natural habitat and we have to build things like trees for animals to live in. So the possibilities are endless. Anything that we build that surrounds us is the built environment. So you're not only going to learn about those structures, but who is building them. So I guess the easy answer for you guys is probably architects or the construction guys, right? But there are so many people that go into building a building. Of course, the architects are a huge part of it, our interior designers. I know a lot of our students end up really enjoying the interior design aspect of the program. We also have engineers, so you guys might get a taste of what it's like to be an engineer. And of course, the construction guys and gals that are actually the ones putting those walls up. And of course, we need electricians. What good is a house if you don't have any lights, right? So if you can't watch Netflix during quarantine. We also have plumbers. You would definitely want to be able to use the bathroom inside of your house. My house that I'm living in right now actually was built without any electricity or running water. So when it was originally built, there was an outhouse out on the other side of my kitchen, and they would actually walk outside to go to the bathroom. So pretty crazy to think about. Of course, that was a really long time ago. I have a bathroom just on the other side of this wall here now, so I don't have to go outside to go to the bathroom. But also general contractors. I have to have people come here all the time to do things like fix paneling that's falling or fix water damage to my wall, which is a big problem with old houses, all kinds of stuff. A gate outside my house actually fell the other day, and I had to call a contractor for that. So there are so many people that go into creating and keeping our buildings healthy, making sure that they're stable enough and healthy enough for us to live in. So you guys will learn a little bit more about all of that later in the program or as the program goes, but I just wanted to give you a heads up about some of the things some of the professions that you would be learning about, just in case any of you are interested in that or think that might be a good future path for you. Of course, you guys are going to learn how to build a building. So this year's theme, and we did it last year too, but it was so perfect and so many students didn't get to finish it that we are doing it again. So the theme this year is going to be dwellings. We have all been spending a lot of time in our dwellings, unfortunately. I think all of us are ready to get out of them. But as we're spending time in them, I think a lot of us are rethinking how we see the house that we live in. Right now, my house is not only my house and where I sleep, but it's my office, it's my entertainment. When I have people over, we hang out outside around my fire pit so that we're staying nice and healthy. But all of that goes into how I made my house. So I made it so that I can work here, I can sleep here, and I can entertain here, even socially distanced. So when you guys are building your dwelling this year, I want you to have all that in mind. So maybe you will build the dwelling you wish you had right now, right? I think we can all wish that we had some extravagant resort house right now, somewhere beautiful. But we are in Cincinnati, so maybe you can build it in Cincinnati, but you can have a greenhouse so it's warm all year round and you have a beach inside of it, or something like that. So there are going to be two different ways that you can think about your dwelling and how you decide what you're going to build. So students usually either have, and this is true of professionals as well, you either have a person or a client, I should say. Your client doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be an animal or an alien or, you know, your favorite character off of your favorite show. But who your client is going to be. So if you have a favorite client in mind that you'd love to build a house for, then that is where you're going to start with that client. So then you're going to think about your client's needs. If you're building something for an alien, it's going to be a little bit different than if you're building a dwelling for a fish, right? They have different needs. If I was building a dwelling for my dog, it would be different than if I was building a dwelling for myself. So think about who that home is going to be built for and what those needs are going to be. That's one way to approach it. The other way that you can approach this is to go by where you want to build a house, which is your site. So your site and your client are things that you're going to want to start thinking about now. So again, your site can be anywhere, and it can be someplace that exists. Maybe it is where your house is located right now that you live in, or your apartment, or wherever you live, whatever kind of dwelling you live in is located right now. Or it could be maybe in Thailand. You want to see how people live in Thailand, and you've always enjoyed that country. You want to see what the houses are like there. And maybe you're the client and you want to live in Thailand. That's great. So that could be building for a site rather than building specifically for a client. So you're still going to have a client, you're always going to have a site, but let one of those be the driving force. I think it would be really fun to make your site someplace like Mars and see who all can live there. Or make your client somebody like penguins. Penguins are somebody's, right? Make your client a penguin and then see what they need. So something that's cool about penguins, actually, I was lucky enough to travel to Africa, and they make these really cool houses for penguins because of climate change. It gets a lot colder where they live in South Africa, right on the southern cape there. So it gets too cold for them right now, and they built these little huts, these little houses that they can stay in right on the beach that keep them warm, and they can nest in those and not die in their cold winters, and so they can survive, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's cool that we may have created a problem over time, but now we're working to fix that problem, and I love to be part of the solution rather than the problem, so I get really into that. Think about those things, though, so that over the next couple of months, as you're going through these videos, you know who you're building for, you know where you're building. And that way, say, your parents or somebody gets takeout one night and part of the containers are the perfect trunk for a tree. Then you can save that stuff and make sure that you're building with that perfect tree trunk, right? Just an example, but there are plenty of examples like that you can come up with from things that you see around your house and around your world. once you start building, we're going to ask you to only use materials that already exist. So keep that in mind and start collecting those materials now. Each week you're going to do the video, and then you're going to have a little activity that goes along with the video that'll help you start building your dwelling. So your activity this week, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to start researching. I want you guys to research all of the different places that you could build and all of the different clients that you could build for, and just really get excited about it. So think about how different people all over the world live and how different animals live, what their needs are. So say you are living in the Arctic Circle. Do you think that you would be able to live in the same kind of house that you live in Thailand? Or if you live in a place like Thailand and you live where it floods a lot, do you think you would maybe want to put your house on stilts? It might be nice to keep the rain out, right? Or you might want to just build a house that can easily get flooded and the water will just wash away as soon as it floods in. There are so many different ways that you can go about this and so many different opportunities. I really hope that all of you guys find something that you're really passionate about to build. Another thing you can look at with the site is what the surroundings are. So when I bought my house, I didn't build it, but when I went to buy it, I looked at walkability. I wanted to be able to walk to most of the places that I went to. You can see a bike behind me. This actually isn't my bike. My bike's over there. But being able to bike places is also really important to me. I like being able to not have to get into my car to go places, because I really, like I said at the beginning of the video, I really enjoy protecting animals and making sure that we're keeping our environment nice and clean. So I do everything I can, and avoiding getting in the car is one of the best ways to do that. So that's an idea for you guys. If you want to be in a very walkable place, maybe you want to be in downtown Cincinnati or downtown LA, or maybe even downtown somewhere on the other side of the world in Tokyo. So you could definitely walk places in Tokyo. You might not have a choice. You might not be able to get into a car. So depending on where you're living, all of those needs, or where your dwelling is and where your client's living, all of those needs are going to be changing. So once you guys get started in the program, if you haven't already, you will be matched up with a volunteer. So your volunteer is going to be a professional in the built environment, or maybe a student that is in school to become an architect, an engineer, construction manager, somebody like that. So they're going to be able to really walk you through this program. They're going to be able to help you and guide you through the building process, and maybe they'll even serve as a mentor for you later in life. I would suggest that you get their information and keep their information just in case you want to job shadow or you need a letter of reference for something. These people are going to be great people for you to have in your corner going forward. All right, guys, before the next video, we want you to have an idea of who your client's going to be and where your site is going to be located. We are so excited to have you in this program, though. We can't wait to see what you come up with this semester, and we will see you at the next video. All right, thank you guys so much, and again, welcome to Design Lab 2021. Oh, he's such a good boy. He's such a good boy.